when the next On Contact comes out, it will be another part, the second part with Zizek.
Sure.
But they're talking about his most recent book, Pandemic.
This is Chris Hedges is another. He's a journalist and whatever, and he's got good critiques, I guess, in certain things, but it's pretty obvious stuff. And he really doesn't have any solutions to anything. He's really just a doomer too, and he basically is just like third party. That's the solution, and with no real like idea of how to get there, and really no care whatsoever about like the Black Lives Matter movement, racism at all. Not really. It's more of a peripheral thing to him, like sexism too. All of these are peripheral things and not like equal interlapping issues. Like I guess to a certain extent you could call him a class reductionist, which tankies basically are. Which I guess maybe he is kind of a tanky. Um, but he like they think that like oh basically we just materially like solve things from a central level and then everything else will go away. All the racism, all the sexism, all the everything else will go away instantly. And that's just not the case. There's a lot of other things that need to be done to get that to happen. I mean, sure, it will lessen it. I truly believe it would lessen a lot of that, but it's definitely not going to get rid of a lot of things. Like you can be a materially rich, like everybody can be materially rich, and there's still all kinds of messed up social hierarchies and all kinds of like hatred and everything. Like you have to break those down along with class.
But he also says
I
something that I
see.
thought was pretty insightful in the interview, where he talks about how each individual now owns their own means of production. You know, and what that means for the proletariat and the working class in the age of the gig economy, where we own our own cars when we are driving for Uber, we own our own, computer when we're working as a
Are they really
call.
okay? All right, all right. We're not doing that. Um. Okay, I want to see them take questions. Let's do it. I don't need to see Chris Hedges. I really. He's just so boring. All right.
Corporation too, and that's kind of the paradox that going independent brings with it these days as far as your profession. If you are going to go independent, for the most part at least, obviously not all the time, but in many senses, if you do want to do something where you don't have a boss directly, you are going to end up still technically working under the umbrella of some corporation, which I think is an interesting dynamic.
What? Oh, okay. I guess they're talking about the gig economy, but yeah, obviously that's not some big insight. Like, yeah, obviously Uber bad and just like it is a corporation. It's still top down. It's a corporation. Like, yeah, of course they're not really independent. What? That is not a new insight. What a stupid. Oh, okay.
And also, just before you chime in, Zach,
That's what I don't like about Chris Hedges. It seems like I think he's been accused of oh my God, what's the plagiarism? Because he basically just copy pastes his whole thing,
Oh man.
and he basically just like he has no new insights. Actually, let's hold on a second here. I'm pretty sure Chris Hedges plagiarism. Okay, okay. Let's see. So this is from the New Republic, which is pretty decent, I think. So.
Imagine plagiarizing.
Well, yeah. Okay. Let's check it out. Pulitzer Prize winner, lefty hero, plagiarist. Oh, this is good. Okay. In early 2010, the editors at Harper's Magazine began reviewing a lengthy manuscript submitted by Chris Hedges, a former New York Times reporter. In the piece, Hedges had turned his eye to Camden, New Jersey, one of the most downtrodden cities in the nation. Oh, it's so true. It is a very poor place. It's sad. Hedges, ed-
Sad.
Hedges editor at Harper's, Theodore Ross, who left the magazine in 2011 and is now a freelance writer, was excited when he saw the draft. I thought it was a great story about a topic, poverty, that nobody covers enough, Ross said. The trouble began when Ross passed the piece along to the fact checker assigned to the story. As Ross and the fact checker began working through the material, they discovered that sections of Hedges' draft appeared to have been lifted directly from the work of a Philadelphia Inquirer reporter named Matt Katz, who in 2009 had published a 4-part series on social and political dysfunction in Camden. Interesting. Huh. Copy pasta. Okay.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Given Hedges, this is literally like, this is Jimmy Dore stuff. This is why this guy's on Jimmy Dore all the time. They're the same. Given Hedges' institutional pedigree, this discovery shocked the editors at Harper's. Hedges had been a star foreign correspondent at the Times, where he reported from war zones and was part of the team that won the 2002 Pulitzer Prize for covering global terrorism. Okay. In 2002, he had received the Amnesty International Global Award for Human Rights Journalism. He is a fellow at the Nation Institute. He has taught at Princeton and Columbia University. He writes a weekly column published in the widely read progressive website Truthdig, and frequently republished on the Truthout website. Yep. He is the author of 12 books, including the best-selling American Fascist. Since leaving the Times in 2005, he has evolved into a polemicist of the American left. So I use words that the Jimmy Dore people find big and cool, and then they reuse them like they do pontificate, because Aramate says pontificate a lot. So, anyway, for his fierce denunciation of the corporate state, his attacks on the political elite, and his enthusiasm for grassroots revolt, he has secured a place as a firebrand revered among progressive elite readers. A leading moralist of the left, however, had now been caught plagiarizing at one of the oldest magazines of the left. Yeah, I think Harper's Magazine is like really, really old. I think it was around in like World War II and everything. Ross, or maybe it's not that old, but it is really old because they used to, early baseball was in that and everything. Anyway, Ross and the fact checker, who remains an editor at the magazine and asks that his name not be used in this story. That's funny because he knows he's going to get attacked. That's by the I love it. I love it. Okay. The magazine's editor-in-chief and Rick MacArthur, the publisher, who knew Hedges personally. The fact-checker was assigned to speak to Hedges about the material lifted from Matt Katz. According to Ross and the fact-checker, Hedges told them that he had shared the draft with Katz, who Hedges claimed had approved his use of Katz's language in reporting. Rosenbusch and MacArthur declined to comment on the record for this article. But when the editors at Harper's asked Katz about Hedges' account, Katz told them he had not in fact seen the manuscript. So he's literally going and saying, oh, it's okay because the guy who I plagiarized from, he said it was all good. He approved this. And they asked him, and he's like, no. When I went back to Hedges, he tried to clarify by saying he didn't mean that he actually showed Katz the draft, the fact-checker said. He lied to me. He lied to his fact-checker.
Jeez.
Yep. At this point, Ross said, he brought the matter to Rosenbusch, and together, after a series of meetings that include the fact-checker, literary editor Ben Metcalf, and MacArthur, they decided Harper's could no longer stand behind the piece. I do not believe I shared a text with Matt Katz, but this was a few years ago. Wait, what? I do not believe I shared a text with... I don't know if I talked to him or not. Okay.
What?
That's basically what he's saying. I do not believe I shared a text with Matt Katz, but this was a few years ago. I know I spoke with him several times as he wrote the series and covered Camden. Katz told me he did not remember seeing a draft, and he confirmed speaking with Harper's fact-checker. He declined to comment further. The plagiarism of Harper's was not an isolated incident. Interesting. Yep. Hedges has a history of lifting material from other writers that goes back at least to his first book, War is a Force That Gives Us Meaning, published in 2002. He has echoed language from Nation author Naomi Klein. He has lifted lines from radical social critic Neil Postman. He has even purloined lines from Ernest Hemingway. Oh my God.
Wow.
Think about that. Like, Ernest Hemingway. Like,
Think of it.
think of it. Like, think of how well-known Ernest Hemingway is. He's one of the most well-known authors ever. Like, you can't even go to some, like, obscure author or something that nobody knows and take lines or whatever. Like, that's the thing. He's not even doing that. Why isn't he trying harder? Like, Why isn't he like going to books that nobody knows? Why isn't he going to like studies or whatever that nobody knows? Instead, he's just copying some of the most well-known things. What a fool.
Think of it.
Think of it.
Think of it.
This is
No,
incredible.
but he probably didn't.
I know he didn't. No, he's dumb. We're gonna play some music in the background here.
Oh, hey, something completely random, but I think it's important that you should do this, okay? After you're done streaming, you should raid somebody.
Oh yeah, okay. Hold on, I gotta figure out how to turn down the volume on this. You know what? We're not gonna play that. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't hear a thing you were saying.
I know.
When you-
I realize that it's not gonna let me do that at the same time as talking. So. Okay.
Sag.
So it's not an isolated incident. Unraveling. Wait, first of all, do we have anything in chat? Let's see. I don't know.
Any chatters?
I don't know. We got one viewer. One viewer. That's all right. Okay. The unraveling of the Camden article occurred over the course of several weeks. The more we dug into it and the more we looked back at the early drafts, Ross said, the more we began to see that this could not have been anything but intentional. Amazing. Specific language, specific sentence structure, specific topics. He went to all the same places as this reporter, Matt Katz, and talked to the same people. Some of it was just taken from the reporter's articles. There were sentences that were exactly the same. I asked, incredible. It's so badly done. It's just, he's literally copy pasting. Like, this is worse than what I do on Twitter. Like, this is just, it's pathetic, really.
True.
I asked Harper's for a copy of Hedges' original manuscript for comparison with Katz's published pieces, but the magazine's policy is not to share unpublished works of its writers. The Katz stuff was flat out plagiarism, says the Harper's fact checker. At least 20 instances of sentences that were exactly the same.
Oh man.
Oh my God. There are 3 graphs where a that was changed to a which. Oh my God. So he's literally just changing little words around. What a pathetic. Oh God. The fact reiterated to me that first-person accounts in Hedges' draft had him quoting the same sources as in Katz's pieces, with the sources using exactly the same wording as in Katz's pieces. Oh my God. It's just not even trying. Hedges not only used another journalist's quotes, says the fact checker, but he used them in first-person scenes, claiming he himself gathered the quotes. It was one of the worst things I'd ever seen as a fact checker at a magazine. This fact checker literally, this is all the fact checker does, and he's amazed. He is just truly amazed. Like, really? You couldn't have even done this better? Like, I've seen plagiarism, but this is so dumb.
So low energy.
This is so Jimmy Dore level. It's incredible.
Oh man, that's pathetic.
Throughout the piece, yes. Also, am I able, like, with my Twitch stream here recording, am I able, like, later to go through and edit it, like, pieces of it and post, like, video?
You can download them and then edit them from those somehow with like whatever editing software you have.
Nice. So after it's done, I can, like, go on Twitch and download it?
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome. Because
I'm pretty sure. Pretty sure.
I'm gonna post on YouTube taking down Chris Hedges or exposing Chris Hedges. Big clickbait.
You should probably definitely cut out all the useless parts.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh
No
definitely.
one watch like the whole.
Oh, I know, definitely. I'm gonna edit this all into like segments and stuff.
Okay, pog.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, I got a whole thing. Yeah, we're gonna do like however long we've been doing this Chris Hedges takedown, and that'll be a separate thing. Oh my God. But you know, that'll get some Jimmy Dore viewers and stuff. I'm pretty pumped actually about this.
Will?
Oh, they will literally search like Chris Hedges and stuff. Oh yeah. Oh, he's a big figure to them. They love this BS. Okay, so
The meme.
let's see here. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Okay. The fact checker spoke on the phone with Hedges at least 3 times and exchanged about a dozen emails with him. He was very unhelpful from the beginning and very aggressive. Oh my. Yep, that's exactly okay. He's malding. He's very mad. Okay. Hedges repeatedly claimed he had done original reporting. Hedges assured me that there were no problems, said Ross. He then went to the fact checker and tried to intimidate him and give him a hard time. Me big man, me strong, me you go away. I do nothing.
So
Hedges told him, "Why are you going to the editor?" Um, okay. The fact checker told me not only was the plagiarism more egregious than I had seen before, but it was shocking how unapologetic Hedges was when I put it in his face. He got very heavy-handed about it. He kept claiming that the people quoted in Cat's piece gave him the exact same quotes. Oh my God.
oh man.
Oh my God. According to Ross and the fact checker, Hedges then tried to circumvent their questions by appealing privately to Harper's publisher, Rick MacArthur, who at the time was a personal friend. After it became clear that we had a serious problem, the reaction to the magazine was admirable, Ross said. Ellen brought me in to talk to Hedges on the phone when we killed it. He was very upset. He's very angry. He's a very angry guy. He didn't.
Yeah.
It's sad. It's really sad stuff. I mean, I can see where, like, when I watched his things, I can tell. He's got some problems, and it's sad. Like, he needs to. He's in the whole Jimmy Dore world, and he's trying to LARP, being a real journalist. So it's tough. It's tough. It's like Caleb
True.
Pimpin. It's tough. Okay. It got heated. I said words to the effect of, "Chris, we're doing you a favor here. You don't want to go out with that kind of work because you'll get caught. Someone is going to catch you." I thought it was all pretty sad. Here was a chance to do creative, smart, impactful story on poverty, and we lost it because he wasn't willing to do the work. That's right. Hedges has not been invited to write for Harper's again. Exactly, because he's a fake reporter. He didn't actually care. He didn't want to go and do it. What a piece of garbage. Okay. Hedges made his name on the left with his book, War is a Force That Gives Us Meaning, considered a classic about the psychological effects of combat. When a University of Texas classics professor named Thomas Palaima read the book, he was initially enthused. Palaima teaches Palaima, whatever. Sorry, whoever you are, if you're watching the stream, Palaima teaches.
Sure, he's the one viewer.
Yeah, maybe Dr. Palaima. Yeah, Professor Palaima, if you're here, yeah. Palaima teaches a course on the human experience of war and wanted to include Hedges as required reading in his syllabus. I read War from a sympathetic, progressive standpoint, Palaima said. I admired his courage as a reporter and his general moral stance against, to my mind, morally unjustifiable wars. But, in poring over the book, he had come across a passage that sounded disturbingly familiar. Oh, God. This is just unbelievable. On page 40 of the hardcover first edition, like, think about how what a grift. Think about how much money Chris Hedges has made on this, too. Like, selling all these books and everything, and he's grifting hardcore. Hedges
True.
Hedges writes, "In combat, the abstract words glory, honor, courage often become obscene and empty. They are replaced by the tangible images of war, the names of villages, mountains, roads, dates, and battalions." Yeah. The rhythm of the language, the ideas, and the sentiment, Palaima concluded, were from Hemingway's A Farewell to Arms.
Oh man.
My God, a very well-known classic, like incredibly well-known. The passage, like, he's not even, like I said, he's not even like going to obscure authors or anything. The passage in A Farewell to Arms reads, abstract words. Oh my God, look at this, how close these are. Okay. Abstract words such as glory, honor, courage, or hallow were obscene beside the concrete names of villages, the number of roads, the names of rivers, the numbers of regiments and dates. Oh my God. They're
Yeah.
extremely similar. Finding no citation. No citation of Hemingway in Hedges' text, endnotes, or bibliography. Palaima alerted Hedges' publishing house, Public Affairs, in an email dated June 8, 2003, as to what he hoped was an inadvertent plagiarism. Over the next few weeks, he corresponded with the company's founder and CEO, Peter Osnos, who assured him that the passage had already been altered for future editions. Thus, on page 40 of the paperback edition, the text now reads, "The lofty words that inspire people to war, duty, honor, glory, swiftly become repugnant and hollow. They are replaced by the hard, specific images of war, by the prosaic names of villages and roads." Oh my God. Yet, oh, you get out of here. Okay. Yet the new edition still did not credit Hemingway. The wording was changed to throw camouflage over the plagiarism, Palaima said. And remember, the guy who's saying this right now, Palaima, is literally a professor at the University of Texas, who at first really liked Chris Hedges until he started really thinking about, wait, I've heard these words before. So anyway, that's who's saying this right now. It's not just like, oh, McCarthyite smearing or your CIA. So anyway, it was a cuttlefish approach. You spray ink into the water so no one can really see what's going on. The original idea is Hemingway's. In response, Hedges told me that the passage was noticed and corrected by me after the first edition was published. This was several months before the email from Palaima. And the passage, when it was corrected, was sufficiently different from the Hemingway not to warrant attribution. Palaima followed up with several more emails to Public Affairs during June 2003, noting his concern, as he told me that the publishing house was engaged in a cover-up that was just dishonest. He got on the phone with Osnos, who, according to Palaima, dismissed his argument as that of a pedant's pedantry. Palaima left the conversation believing that Osnos thought it was important to protect Hedges. Interesting. So the CEO of Hedges Publishing House is trying to defend him and protecting him. Weird. Why would he do that? I don't know. Maybe because he's making money off of Hedges' books.
Weird champ.
Weird champ. Okay. In September 2003, Palaima published a piece on the Hemingway plagiarism. Wow. In the Austin American Statesman, in which he noted that plagiarists are not merely stunting their own intellectual development or disappointing their professors. By disguising the fact that they are not speaking in their own voices, they diminish our belief that their voices are original and worth listening to. According to Palaima, he could have just came out, he could have just quoted Hemingway. He could have just done any of this.
Yeah, for sure.
So dumb. But yet he's trying to gain so much clout and try to feel so important and try to laugh so hard that he just copies it. And it's
Pathetic.
It's sad. I feel bad for him because I'm sure he feels very sad inside and everything because he's trying to live up to this and trying to be Ernest Hemingway and everything, and knowing all the while that he's not him and he's not original.
Why you don't plagiarize?
Huh?
This is why you don't plagiarize.
Yeah. Well, it's stupid. Like this specifically is really stupid. It's so dumb. Okay. It was a very strange. Oh wait, where were we at here?
Yeah, I agree.
Huh?
It is very dumb. I agree.
Oh, it's so dumb. And just to not even try that hard, like it's so freaking insane. Okay. According to the when he spoke, Hedges suggested. Oh, wait. What? Okay, that's where we were. In September 2003, published, a story in the American Statesman. They're not merely stunting by disguising the fact that they're not speaking in their voices. Yep. According to Palaima, when he and Hedges spoke on the phone prior to publication of the American Statesman piece, Hedges suggested that Palaima was not competent enough to question his work. Ooh, that's nasty. Palaima, a MacArthur Fellow and veteran classicist, like he's literally an expert in literature, replied that he was adhering to the basic rules of scholarship, in which proper citation is given. Yep. It was a very strange conversation, says Palaima. It is with these people. It really is. He kept saying that essentially what he had done was trivial. He was dismissive and belittling. Oh my God. Palaima replied that as author of more than 100 scholarly articles, reviews, and op-eds, and as an editor of a scholarly monograph series, a scholarly journal, and several books, he had never encountered a case where an unattributed use of another intellectual's ideas and wording was solved by altering the wording in a subsequent printing without attribution. So
sad.
he's literally like, oh, I got caught plagiarizing. Well, let me try to change the words a little bit more. And yet, I'm still not going to admit that I did it, and I'm still not going to credit Hemingway.
Oh yeah, it's impressive. It's very dumb.
It
Very dumb.
really is. Like, I mean, the devotion to the grift, the devotion to this, the whole thing is incredible. According to Polima, Hedges claimed by the way of explanation that he had copied the Hemingway text into his notes and later used it mistakenly, thinking
Oh yeah,
it was his own. Yes, I believe
of
it.
course. Me too, man. Me
Oh
too.
my God, he just keeps coming up with new things. It's great. First he tries just getting really mad. That didn't work. And then he's like saying something else and saying like, "Oh no, it's just mine and I just whatever." And now he's saying, "Well, actually, it is Hemingway's, but I thought it was mine because I just happened to write it down in my notes or something."
So,
Okay.
so dumb.
It's incredibly dumb. Palaima was stunned. All he had to do was add "as Hemingway wrote," and the problem would have been
True.
addressed. So true. It's so freaking true. Palaima told me. Plutarch said that little details reveal the character of the man. That's right. That's right. I mean, it's just like however a person generally treats the people closest to him. I mean, it tells a lot about like who they are, where they're at, in their life and everything. So, um, yeah, I mean that's pretty true. I mean, Hedges seems to be a very angry guy. So, if Hedges was found in a small matter to have further compounded his dishonesty, it makes you wonder about more important matters. All the parties in this story, including myself, have professional lives that intersect with magazines and websites in the small world of left liberal journalism. I'm a contributing editor at Harper's, have written both for The Nation and Truthdig, and I have received investigative grants from the Nation Institute. This article first took shape as an investigation for the American Prospect and then for Salon, both of which eventually declined to publish it. Prior to my discovery that Hedges had been caught plagiarizing while working for Harper's, he was on my radar screen as a result of lifting passages from the work of my from the work wait what? He was on my radar screen as a result of lifting packages from the work of my wife, Petra,
Wait, what?
the person who wrote this article. He literally plagiarized his wife. Wait, okay, so the guy who wrote this article is named Christopher Ketchum. Okay, I think I've heard of him. This is written in 2014. Okay. So he's literally okay. So he's copying his wife. All right. Um, let's yeah, let's keep going on that. Okay. Petra Bartosewicz. 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 Wow. Okay. I mean, that's like Bartosik. I think that might be the root of that, honestly. Bartosewicz.
Oh,
Okay. Bartosewicz. Yeah, okay. Who also wrote for Harper's. Bartosewicz found that he had used unattributed her. Oh my God. Found that Hedges had used unattributed her language from a piece she had published in the magazine's November 2009 issue. Her article concerned the plight of a Pakistani woman named Afi Siddiqui, who was accused of being a terrorist and who had disappeared, allegedly into the CIA system of black sites. Uh-huh. Yeah, I mean, okay. In the Harper's piece, Bartosowicz described the scene in which Siddiqui, according to a Justice Department complaint, attacked a group of American officers in a room in Ghazni, Afghanistan, where she was being held. She wrote, "None of the United States personnel were aware," the complaint states, "that Siddiqui was being held unsecured behind the curtain. No explanation is offered as to why no one thought to look behind it. The group sat down to talk, and in another odd lapse of vigilance, the warrant officer placed his United States Army M4 rifle on the floor to his right next to the curtain near his right foot. Siddiqui, like a villain in a stage play, reached from behind the curtain and pulled the 3-foot rifle to her side. She unlatched the safety. She pulled the curtain slightly back and pointed the gun directly at the head of the captain. One of the interpreters saw her. He lunged for the gun. Siddiqui shouted, 'Get the fuck out of here,' and fired twice. She hit no one. As the interpreter wrestled her to the ground, the warrant officer drew his sidearm and fired approximately 2 rounds in Siddiqui's abdomen. She collapsed, still struggling, and fell unconscious. Oh my god. That's disgusting. Okay. She literally hit no one, wrestled her to the ground, and the guy still fought. Okay. Hedges wrote a piece about Siddiqui for Truthdig. And see, that's the thing. Fuck the CIA. Fuck all of the Afghanistan imperialism, too. Like, everybody who's going to say, like, you're CIA and everything, like, guy. Or, I mean, it's probably just, it's a guy. It's a white guy saying it, so. But honestly, like, that's bad. But when other countries do the same thing, it's bad, too. So anyway. Okay. Back to Plagiarizer guy. Hedges wrote a piece about Siddiqui for Truth, published February 8, 2010, roughly 3 months after Bartosowicz's article hit newsstands. In his piece, he wrote, none of the United States personnel were aware, the complaint states, that Siddiqui was being held unsecured behind the curtain. The group sat down to talk, and the warrant officer placed his United States Army M4 rifle on the floor next to his right, next to the curtain near his foot. Siddiqui allegedly reached from behind the curtain and pulled the 3-foot rifle to her side. Okay, 3-foot rifle. Is that what? Okay, it literally is copy positive. Okay.
Oh,
She
oh man.
unlatched the safety. She pulled the curtain slightly back and pointed the gun directly at the head of the captain. One of the interpreters saw her. He lunged for the gun. Siddiqui shouted, "Get the fuck out of here!" Literally the same thing, and fired twice. She hit no one. As the interpreter wrestled her to the ground, the warrant officer drew his sidearm and fired approximately 2 rounds into Siddiqui's abdomen. She collapsed, still struggling, and then fell unconscious. It literally is the same thing. He didn't even do anything different. Later in the same article, Hedges refers to Bartosowicz's article without explaining that the paragraph in his piece was hers. He proceeds to lift additional language from her Harper's work without quoting her or attributing the material to her. Bartosowicz. The governor of Ghazni province, Usman Usmani, told my local reporter that the U.S. team had demanded to take over custody of Siddiqui. The governor refused. He could not release Siddiqui, he explained, until officials from the counterterrorism department in Kabul arrived to investigate. Hedges. The governor of Ghazni province, Usman Usmani, told a local reporter who was hired by Bartosowicz that the U.S. team had demanded to take over custody of Siddiqui. The governor refused. He could not release Siddiqui, he explained, until officials from the counterterrorism department in Kabul arrived to investigate. Bartosowicz, he proposed a compromise. The U.S. team could interview Siddiqui. Okay, so you can see right here, literally the same thing. Literally the
He
exact same thing.
paused the whole thing.
He literally copied and pasted the whole freaking thing. Look at this. Again, the last one too. Same exact thing. Bartosowicz. Then for the reason unexplained, attacked suicide bomber. Literally the same thing.
What a guy. What a guy.
Incredible. Bartosowicz contacted Harper's editor, who asked not be named in the story, who reached out to Truthdig. The site replied that Hedges apparently had lifted the quotes directly from Bartosowicz's piece and had meant to attribute them as a block quote. As it appears now on the website, Truthdig has modified the article's formatting and language and added an editor's note at the top of the piece. As a result of errors, an earlier version of this column misrepresented quoted material. The corrected version is below. When asked about the Bartosowicz passages, Hedges attributed it to sloppy sourcing on my part. Oh, sorry, didn't know. I feel badly about this, especially as Petra's article was a first-class piece of reporting. He wrote that passages should have been set off from the main body of the text as a block quote. But he never addressed why he made so many small changes to the original text. The tweaking of some sentences and lines, but not others. The adding of a hyperlink, not in the original. The changing of phrases, such as my local reporter to a local reporter. Because the thing is, he was like, I don't want to get caught, but if I do, the changes are minor enough that I can deny it. That's literally all it is. Okay. So,
Big sad.
can you hear me?
Yes.
Sorry.
Kind of.
Hello,
You're
hello.
cutting. Yo,
Okay. It got unplugged. All right. We are good now,
unlucky.
I think. All right, so Hedges' work is often reposted at the progressive news site Common Dreams, which, yeah, okay. It's a decent site, but Hedges is scrub. Okay. Readers who found another of his 2010 Truthdig columns there noted that Hedges had lifted language and ideas from Neil Postman's seminal work on technological dystopia, amusing ourselves to death, but failed to include a citation yet again on a very, very, very well-known book. In amusing ourselves to death, Postman writes, what Orwell feared were those who would ban books. What Huxley feared was that there would be no reason to ban a book, for there would be no one who wanted to read one. Orwell feared those who would deprive us of information. Huxley feared those who would give us so much that we would be reduced to passivity and egoism. Yeah. Well, first of all, the Huxley view on that is very um, just like thinking of humans as only they're just disgusting things who only care about themselves and everything, and it's really nasty because it's like the only way humans ever survived was by cooperating and being I mean, socializing is incredibly important. I mean, we need that like more than anything. Like loneliness is a thing. Like we need other people, and people like it's disgusting to think something like that like, oh, people are just only care about themselves and would, just it's a very, very misanthropic view, a very human hating view of what people are. So anyway,
Anti
it's
anti-human.
incredibly it's very anti-human. Okay, so Orwell feared that truth would be concealed from us. Huxley feared that the truth would be drowned in a sea of irrelevance. Okay, Orwell feared we would become a captive culture. Huxley feared we would become a trivial culture, preoccupied with some equivalent of the feelies, the orgy porgy, and the centrifugal bumble puppy. I mean, I read Brave New World and stuff, Aldous Huxley, and it was so long ago, but I mean, some of the things, like, sure, like, you can see how some of these things could potentially, but ultimately, the view of humanity in this is pretty gross. So, okay. Um,
I've read so few things in my life, man.
and I mean, just because bad things are present and everything, and something like that, I mean, it doesn't mean that all people are, and it doesn't mean that um, that has to be that way forever. I guess I don't know that it. Anyway, let's go back to this guy. Hedges in his column 2011, A Brave New Dystopia. Think, oh God. Okay. Published at Truthdig on December 27, 2010, writes as the text appears in Common Dreams. Uh, Orwell warned of a world. Okay, let's see here. Orwell warned of a world where books were banned. Huxley warned of a world where no one wants to read books. Orwell warned of a world or a state of permanent war and fear. Huxley warned of a culture diverted by mindless pleasure. Orwell warned of a state where every conversation and thought was monitored and dissent was brutally punished. Huxley warned of a state where a population preoccupied by trivia and gossip no longer cared about truth and information. Orwell saw us frightened into submission. Huxley saw us seduced into submission. Yeah, that's basically the exact same thing that Neil Postman wrote in his um, book, extremely well-known book, um, Using Ourselves to Death. Yeah, same. Okay, a commenter at Common Dreams remarked on the similarities. A commenter, literally a chatter. Okay, this is awesome. The sustained repetition of alternating sentences beginning with Orwell feared and Huxley feared is what makes Postman's passage striking, and Hedges copies it, replacing feared with warned. Sorta like my students do fa paragraphs by replacing a few words with stuff they pulled out of the thesaurus. Yeah, it's literally that. So he's using the same content and the same stylistic device. Technically, it is plagiarism. If I tried that in graduate school, I would have flunked. Yeah. As the piece currently appears on Truthdig, the paragraph references Postman somewhat awkwardly in the paragraph's first and second sentences. Orwell, as Neil Postman wrote, warned of a world where books were banned. Huxley, Postman noted, warned of a world where no one wanted to read books. The editor's note accompanies, okay, blah, blah, blah. Plagiarism. It keeps happening with him. Let's see. In the acknowledgments to Hedges' most recent book, Days of Destruction, Days of the Vault, published by Nation Books. Like, notice how everything is just so doomer as hell that he writes. He's all just like, he's literally like, okay. Have you seen that meme of like, it's like the guy in like the hat smoking a cigarette and like it's the like,
So yeah,
let's see, Doom Wojak, right? Aren't they? Isn't that what they're called?
I don't know that one.
Okay,
Maybe.
Chris Hedges, basically.
Yeah, I know that meme. Yeah.
Yeah, it's this.
Huh.
Let's pull it up for everybody here. Come on. Yeah, it's pretty well known, but oh, there we go. There we go. Come on, computer.
Computer's so sad.
Oh, I know. It really is. Guy, just like up here. Look at that. Just Guy Wojak. Yeah. Come on. Come on. I want. Yeah. Oh man, it's not. It's really just gonna be like that. But anyway, that's.
Same as the one over there.
Yep. There he is. That's Chris Hedges.
Poor man's.
Yep. Ooh. Is he standing out in front of a building or something? There we go. That's good. Okay. Let's go back. So what do we got? Among his Nation. Oh wait. Published by Nation Books, Hedges thanks Nation magazine editor and publisher Katrina Vanden Heuvel. And the Nation Institute, he writes in his acknowledgement, has been my home and my supporter since I left the New York Times. The Nation magazine and the Nation Institute are separate entities. Wait a second. In the acknowledgement, and okay, Hedges thanks the Nation magazine editor and publisher, and the Nation Institute has been my home. Okay. Does he think that those two things are the same? Is that what's going on here? Has been my home. The Nation magazine. Days of Result. Published by Nation Books.
Ooh, someone got an Araxi thing. God.
I think he is kind of comparing those things, but I'm not entirely sure on that. Among his Nation Institute colleagues is Naomi Klein, who on at least one occasion published something that reads a lot like a subsequent Hedges item. Compare a piece by Klein in The Nation concerning America's international influence as it relates to climate change, published on October 14, 2009, with a piece by Hedges on the same subject published at Truthdig 4 days later, on October 18, 2009. The lifting here is subtler than in other examples, but the idea in each sentence are similar, and the words in several cases exactly the same. Okay, so she published this. Naomi Klein published this in The Nation, which is literally what Chris Hedges was writing in too. And so 4 days later, he goes copy pastes her article onto a different website to get money off of Truthdig. Okay.
Jeez, man.
So these are literally basically the same. That's incredible, really. We're going to bookmark this article so I can put it in the description when I post it on YouTube. Hedges wrote,
Sure.
these facts may indeed have come from Klein. I do not remember. Oh my God. He writes this 4 days later, but the sentences are not copied from Klein. When contacted, Klein said she had no comment. Probably because she thinks she's probably in the same sphere as him and everything and didn't want to get into the whole conflict with him and the whole group. So, in an email, Vanden Heuvel wrote that after hearing about this story, the magazine conducted a review of some of his pieces for The Nation, and we were satisfied with their editorial integrity. Did not find evidence of plagiarism in any Nation article under his byline that we reviewed. Indeed, we believe that his reporting for the magazine has been rigorous and essential in the public debate. Okay. Hedges, in an emailed response, also in in an email response. He declined to be interviewed on the phone. Said that the plagiarism allegations at Harper's were the work of a single editor, Theodore Ross. An internal memo written by an editor at Harper's, I believe it was Ted Ross, made this change about a draft that was in the process of being annotated, stated Hedges. As I told Ross at the time, some hard statistics in my story, as well as some of the inner workings by the political boss of Camden, George Norcross, came from a 3-part series on Camden. It's always been in my experience working with editors over many years that we worked together to fully source and vet an article. Oh my God. I asked Ross about this claim. Hedges is simply incorrect when he says I was responsible for the plagiarism allegations against him at Harper's, Ross told me. As he knows, a staff fact checker. He's just spewing lies. The editor-in-chief, the literary editor, and the publisher jointly concluded that his story could not be published. Most important, the final decision to withdraw the piece on these grounds was not mine. Harper's editor-in-chief, Ellen Rosenbusch, made that decision with the approval of the publisher and in consultation with myself and the fact-checker. Again, something of which Hedges is very much aware. So he knows his crap. He's just lying. He's so full of crap. As for the process of annotation that Hedges described, Ross responded, to say that it is any editor's responsibility to locate, remove, and replace plagiarized, paraphrase, or improperly sourced material is ludicrous. That's not how the editorial process functions, and for a veteran journalist like Hedges to claim not to know this is baffling. Hedges' story remains the only one I've ever been involved with at any level in publishing to be killed for these reasons. Incredible. Just truly incredible. I reached out both to Chris Hedges and the Nation Institute's executive director, Taya Kitman, with a summary of the instances of plagiarism uncovered in the course of this investigation. In an email, Kitman told me that upon becoming aware of this story some months ago, when in December of 2012, I apprised the Nation Institute of the article in the Progress. Both the Nation Institute and Nation Books conducted a review of Hedges' writing in his capacity as a Nation Books author, and as an investigative fund reporter. Kitman wrote that this internal investigation did not find any instances of plagiarism. Chris has been one of our most valuable and tireless public intellectuals, she emailed. So, internal investigation from his publisher. Okay. That's totally legitimate. Oh, gotta pause to take a hit real quick here.
True.
So what you doing right now?
Still mining, you know.
Nice. Oh, I got a new follower on my series. Oh wait, I shouldn't say the name of the account. I got a new follower
Toxic.
on that account.
Nice, man. How many things can you dox yourself on, Adam? Oh, whoops. That was me doxing you?
The list keeps going. I don't know if it ends.
Oh, man.
Pretty pumped. We still got one viewer.
Hell yeah.
Thank you, one
That
viewer.
is
Oh, that's right. We're gonna have to raid somebody. How do I do that?
You know, I'm not completely sure.
Okay, we'll look it up after this.
True.
So, first of all, everybody, face reveal at 20 followers. So, if you're watching this on YouTube right now, if you're watching this absolute takedown of Chris Hedges as a plagiarist and a completely unoriginal thinker, go on Twitch and follow, or honestly, even YouTube. We'll do a face reveal too if we get to 20 followers on YouTube.
Subscribers.
That's right, subscribers on YouTube. So,
Never happens because you can't get followers on YouTube.
That's right. That's a good point. Yeah. So, I could just be like, Jimmy Orr, well, I didn't say that. I remember, so I don't have to do it. Okay.
Easy.
So, let's see what we got. Oh wait, I gotta drink some water.
True.
Like and subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. Smash that like button.
Or dislike if you hate watching.
Dislike. Anything helps. I see. That's the thing. I shouldn't say it, but that's why when I go on, I don't like. Sometimes I'll dislike things, like if it's a Jimmy Dore live stream, because I know it's just going to disappear and whatever, I guess. But I don't like to like things. Well, I don't like to dislike things because it just helps it's an interaction. and it helps the YouTube algorithm. So I don't like to do that. But anyway,
Fair.
so Hedges said he subsequently published a Camden piece twice. Okay, and the longer version of his book. Oh, as we can see, it is the same. Everything he does is BS. Okay. Asked about this, Hedges wrote, I am mystified by your suggestion. The 2 sections of my books. Both are properly footnoted in source. This is incorrect. In the book, Hedges sources the first quote to a Philadelphia Inquirer article by 2 other reporters. He sources the second passage to a Katz article, but not the one where the language appears. So the most important parts, he's like, I did it, me. Responding to this, the Nation Institute's Kitman wrote, it is abundantly clear from the Days of Destruction, Days of Revolt that Chris Hedges acknowledges the investigative work of the Philadelphia Inquirer did in Camden. The footnotes, she acknowledged, are wrong, and she said they should be corrected in future printings. Yeah, just an innocent mistake from, the guy who plagiarizes everything.
Yeah, definitely.
So let's see. I asked 2 journalism ethicists to look at the instances of plagiarism described throughout this piece. These examples suggest not inadvertent plagiarism, said Kelly McBride, who runs the ethics department at the journalism school at the Poynter Institute. But carefully thought out plagiarism. So yeah, she's saying like this isn't just unintentional. He literally thought this out. But carefully thought out plagiarism meant to skirt the most liberal definition of plagiarism. Robert Dreschel, the director of the Center for Journalism Ethics at the University of Wisconsin-Madison, noted that the use of material from Klein, Postman, and Hemingway, which all of them extremely well known, could be characterized as something that has come to be called patch writing. English and writing professors Sandra Jameson and Rebecca Moore Howard have defined it as restating a phrase, clause, or one or more sentences while staying close to the language or syntax of the phrase. Whether it happens intentionally, carelessly, or as an oversight is a very serious matter. Whatever the explanation for Hedges' reporting, Dreschel told me, harm will have occurred. Yep. Trust is a journalist and journalism's most precious commodity. Difficult to gain and virtually impossible to regain once lost. If there is even a hint of the possibility that misconduct was covered up, it's even worse. Journalism will take another hit. Okay, so what do we got as a correction here? In the original version of this article, New Republic indicated the public affairs changed the text of war is a force that gives us meaning only after having been alerted by Thomas Paine to the presence of plagiarism. In fact, the wording had been changed months earlier, and in addition with the present language existed at the time of Palaim's email to public affairs. However, there was still no attribution to Hemingway in the new version, despite the obvious similarities. Okay. Additionally, the story has been updated. Note that the Hedges piece and Truth Out are republished after initially appearing in Truth In. Okay. So, he's a plagiarist. And completely unoriginal. And, we'll do some... I'm gonna end this pretty soon, but... because I gotta use the bathroom, and I gotta get more water. Okay. Come on! Click! Click! There we go. Let's see. Let me cap this off by doing something.